What's up, YouTube? I'm about to launch the Facebook and we'll get it cracking. What's up, Facebook? Thank y'all for being here. I appreciate you watching. I have a little different setup because I'm on the road, but I wanted to talk about two topics today. The first one I want to talk about is the Ghislaine Maxwell trial. There's a trial tracker on Twitter that tracks the trial that I was following to try to get some updates because a lot of mainstream media is not really doing that good of a job reporting on it, and it was banned from Twitter. So they banned one of the biggest trial tracking accounts with over 500,000 people on Twitter. Not surprising, but disappointing. And I also want to talk about the CEO of Pfizer is now floating the idea. CNBC reports Pfizer CEO says fourth COVID vaccine dose may be needed sooner than expected due to Omicron. When we see real world data, we'll determine if the Omicron is well covered by the third dose and for how long, Pfizer CEO Albert Bourla told CNBC. And the second point, I think we will need a fourth dose, he said. And I guess, according to reports, sooner than maybe expected. Isn't that interesting? Man, Pfizer CEO says fourth dose may be needed sooner. Ford CEO, I'm sure, says you should drive a Ford car. And, Microsoft CEO wants you to buy an Xbox. But what else is new? Appreciate y'all for being here. We're going to crack into it. Got some good topics. And then I'm going to hang out for 30 minutes and answer questions and just chill for a little bit. Thank y'all. I got my coffee. It's a little different setting, a different vibe. You know me, I vibe out. Sometimes I'm standing up, I'm moving all over the place. And for those of you who wanted to watch my Candace special or whatever, I believe she posted a clip on her YouTube channel, so you could check it out. I haven't watched it yet. Hopefully, I didn't look terrible. Someone said I'm listening to it. Hopefully, I look good. What do you guys think? Did I? And real quick before we start, I'm gonna sip on my coffee. Let me know which story you want first. Do you guys want to talk about the Ghislaine Maxwell story, or do you want to talk about the Pfizer fourth dose story? Let me know. I'm gonna read the comments, and whatever people say in the next 20, 30 seconds, I'm gonna go with first. Someone said Maxwell, Pfizer, Maxwell, Pfizer, Maxwell. All right, so YouTube says Maxwell. We'll see what Facebook says. It's on a little delay on Facebook, so I'm gonna have to wait. Okay, some Pfizer people in there. All right. Andrea, what's going on? Cheers, cheers, cheers. All right, I guess Maxwell wins. So I followed on Twitter. It was called Maxwell Trial Tracker, and they just did a pretty decent job of giving little updates because, it's hard to figure out what's going on in a court case that you're not really in on. They have like people draw pictures and stuff, so people are trying to figure out because although this isn't being reported, I think most people know, it's a huge, huge situation. Jeffrey Epstein committed suicide in prison, or that's what they told people, and he was known as one of the biggest, I guess, alleged child traffickers and connections to what seemed like billionaires, CEOs, politicians, around the world, not just in America. So it seemed like on the surface, from us normal peasants who don't get to be in these big clubs, seemed like the biggest child trafficking court case of the modern era, where the guy who was allegedly the ringleader kind of just disappeared. So then Ghislaine Maxwell, or Ghislaine, or however you say her name, she's alive. She got arrested, and everyone was like, whoa, that's kind of a big deal. And then they banned the trial tracker. But I just want to read something real quick. This is a Vanity Fair. They said the prosecution is fumbling its case against Ghislaine Maxwell. Prosecutors say they plan to rest their case against Jeffrey Epstein's associate by week's end. A shocking move from a team that appears to have failed on a number of fronts already. So Vanity Fair's shocked that the prosecution is fumbling this case. It's like, I mean, maybe they have to write these articles, or maybe they're oblivious, but they're acting like, oh yeah, they just messed up their case, man. They're really fumbling the bag. It's like, you mean the prosecutor who's James Comey's daughter fumbled the case? Are you saying, like, whoa? I mean, yeah, maybe they just made a really bad decision, or I don't know. I didn't even read the full article. Maybe a little ignorant of me, but I'm just saying it's like they're trying to put it out like, oh man, in a shocking turn of events, this case is going to end really quickly. People getting banned on Twitter for reporting it just looks like a traditional, let's get it done, let's do the bare minimum, and then let's move on. And, there's sports games, there's always a news story. Every day there's 50 million stories, and people will eventually forget about it. And unfortunately, I feel like they're right. It sucks that most people don't care, or it sucks that most people are powerless. Like, my opinion on Twitter doesn't matter. I can say whatever I want here, like I could have a grandiose statement like, I am a moral person and I care about this case. And like, it doesn't matter, like I'm just being honest. I don't have that much power. I could reach people, people can think about it. But overall, we have so much division in this country, black and white. And most black people, most white people don't have that division. It's mostly like mainstream media orchestrated. And a lot of it is in certain pockets, in certain areas. Most of the world's fine. Most of the country's fine, but it's like you have black, white, left, right, Trump, anti-Trump, Biden, this, like, CNN, and there's no like cohesion where we could come together and be like, hey, regardless of if you're left wing or right wing, there are certain people that are possibly trafficking children, and like little kids, and like politicians are involved with it. Like it's a huge story that it shouldn't matter what your politics are, but apparently enough people don't care, sadly. And I guess a lot of stuff, I can't tell you the most about this, but a lot of this stuff is redacted. And the reason they redact a lot of stuff, and I'm going to read an article that came out in BuzzFeed News that's probably the most important article you'll see this year that nobody's talking about. I won't say nobody, but not that many people. um they say, like, when you're in the government, oh, we gotta redact that because we don't want you to see too much because it's gonna threaten like national security. Like, that's a big excuse they use. Like, oh, you don't want to see the whole flight log, you don't want to see all this information, because if we showed you all this information, sensitive topics, we're gonna put our national security at risk. And that's very clear in this article. Look it up yourself. First of all, Jason Leopold and Anthony Cormier from BuzzFeed News. Say what you want about BuzzFeed. This is the best article of the year, and these are very, very brave reporters. The headline is Secret CIA Files Say Staffers Committed Sex Crimes Involving Children. This came out on December 1st in BuzzFeed News. Declassified CIA Inspector General reports show a pattern of abuse and repeated decision by federal prosecutors not to hold agency personally accountable. If you scroll down, I'm just going to read part of the article. It says, over the past 14 years, the Central Intelligence Agency has secretly amassed credible evidence that at least 10 of its employees and contractors have committed sexual crimes involving children. Though most of these cases were referred to U.S. attorneys for prosecution, only one of the individuals was ever charged with the crime. I'm going to scroll down and read a part because I believe they use the Freedom of Information Act. There's the FIA. You could sue and do all this stuff. And if you win, you can release files to the public. And that's what BuzzFeed News did. So you got to give it to them. This was a brave move. It says the revelations are contained hundreds of internal agency reports obtained by BuzzFeed News through Freedom of Information Act lawsuits. One employee had sexual contact with a 2-year-old and a 6-year-old. 2 years old, 6 years old. Disgusting. He was fired. A second employee purchased 3 sexually explicit videos of young girls filmed by their mothers. Egregious, disgusting. He resigned. A third employee estimated that he had viewed up to 1,400 sexually abused images of children while on agency assignments. The record do not say what action, if any, if the CIA took against him. A contractor who arranged for sex with an undercover FBI agent posing as a child had his contract revoked. So the only reason he got caught is because he was trying to have sex with a kid, but it ended up being an undercover FBI agent. And it said only one of these individuals cited in these documents was charged with a crime. In that case, and then I want to go down real quick because it says why they don't do that. It says a spokesperson for Eastern District. I'm sorry, I'm trying to find exactly where it is, but somewhere in this article, I can't exactly find it, but they basically say, like, it's like national security, it's sensitive information. The reason they don't want these cases to go to court a lot is because they have so much secret information at that agency that if it were to go to court, a lot of their secret stuff would be revealed to the court. And they say that that's like they can't do that for our own safety and your safety and for the country's safety. But once again, if you want to read that article, This is not a conspiracy theory. This is not a far right news. This is BuzzFeed News did the Freedom of Information Act and reported on pretty much the biggest, I mean, one of the bravest stories of the year. So, much respect to those guys because that's not easy to do. That's extremely brave. Um, but the reason I brought that up, for obvious reasons, but in the Ghislaine Maxwell case, in this, it's sort of the same thing. When it involves certain powerful people and certain agencies, they say, you don't want to, we can't really do what you want us to do because if we tell you too much, you're going to see this other stuff, and that's going to really jeopardize the country's safety or our agency's safety. So the problem is this, and I think people have known this, or smart people have known this. I don't know if the average person cares at all about this, but it's not to say that everybody at the CIA or the FBI is bad, because that's not true. There's good and bad people in every business and every agency. But the problem that a lot of people have with the CIA and the FBI is the fact that they really have no oversight. So there are crimes that people in the CIA and the FBI will commit that at any other job, if you work for any company, most agencies in the government, any business, you would be going to prison. You know what I'm saying? Because it's sick, like 2 years old, 6 years old. This is stuff that you're not getting away with, and you shouldn't. Um, but if you work for these organizations, it's like you're kind of the highest law. It's like being a police officer. Oh, the police get away with, crimes a lot. And it's like, imagine being a police above a police. That's what these agencies are. So it's like they're, the reason people like Glenn Greenwald call them the deep state, he calls them the deep state not to make a theory, but to say they're like unaccountable bureaucrats who you don't vote for specifically, but they stay there regardless of who is left wing or donkey or elephant, and they have this power that overreaches. So anytime you have that much power, it can be abused. And it's not to say that nothing ever good is done there, but at a certain point, I think everybody with a brain knows that it's not fair that they could do such egregious acts to children and get away with it. Speaking of that, I would think the Epstein and Maxwell situation is exactly that. If you look into Ghislaine Maxwell's father, he was a well-known super spy. Even the Baltimore Sun, mainstream news, they reported him as like an Israeli super spy, as a spy for Israel. And I'm sure at that point it was intertwining with countries, people. I haven't done a full deep dive on her father, but as far as Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, clearly they were connected to leaders in Israel, leaders in America, leaders in other countries, CEOs, presidents. They had a network of a lot of people, and what they were doing, how they were doing it. Was it a blackmail thing? Was it a sex selling thing? I don't really know. Obviously, I know as much as everybody else knows from what is public and accessible, but this court case was supposed to really, like, hopefully in the eyes of people who wanted something good to happen, expose that. Because whether you're left wing or right wing, you should be concerned if your politicians are either blackmailed, having sex with like 2-year-olds. This is stuff that's like pretty important and pretty disturbing. And this kind of just shows you, not to be like a black pill doomer or anything, but this kind of just shows you how things work. Like, they'll give you a politician you like, they'll give you a sports team you like, they'll give you some a little win here or there, but like when it comes to the really deep stuff, like it seems like they have their stuff together. Like, let's put this trial together, we'll end it quickly, we'll ban people who talk about it, and we'll move on. So we'll see what happens. We'll see if they charge her or they just kind of sweep it under the rug. I would guess they're probably going to sweep it under the rug. So to not be too pessimistic or anything, I'm not trying to be a downer, but I guess in order for something to change, it would have to be people caring and people stop dividing over very silly stuff, fighting all the time over petty things. And I guess not even on something that's this dark and this wicked, but say even taxes, like income tax, property tax. If people stopped fighting for a week and came together and said, hey, I'm black, you're white, you're Hispanic, you're a woman, whatever, all this stupid stuff, they're taking your money, they're taking your money, if you buy property, you don't really own it because they could take it from you. You're being taxed all the time. This is all bad. Like that, this is a root level problem. Like, yeah, Biden, Trump, this, that, like they're taxing all of us. There's like, this is something that regardless of your politics, if we stopped fighting for 2 days and had common sense, we would be like, yeah, we should not be doing this, or we could fight for lower taxes for all of us because we're just getting robbed by the trillions. But I don't know if humans have the capabilities of that. And I think that before we move on, this type of power structure exists anywhere and everywhere in the world. I don't think everybody's doing stuff like that, but like, say you're the son of the CEO of a major corporation, you're not treated like everybody else. Like you could probably get away with a lot more at that company, and you're not going to get fired because your father owns the company. So this type of hierarchy, yes, we have a democracy, but not really. It's these ideas of equality and social justice. It doesn't really apply. Like, oh, oh yeah, if I vote for Bernie Sanders, I'm going to be equal. Like, no, you're not. You're never going to be like these people. They're you're not like going to be rich. They're not going to give you, part of a corporation. You're not going to own part of Microsoft. Like, it's all a lie. They're just going to steal more of your taxes. So I think the world is not equal. Some people are tall, some people are small, some people are fat, some people are skinny, some people are really athletic, some people are not, some people are smart, some people are dumb, and some people are, have this elite status either by family, by compromising themselves, some probably by working hard, many probably by working smart or deceitful and to get to that position. And these are these are the games that they play at the high levels where if you're in with a certain crowd and you're at a certain point, or some story is so big that it affects so many people that don't want it to be affected, it tends to be seems like a pretty easy thing for them to sweep under the rug. Cowboy Bear, the super chat said, the reason they are programming us to blind us and make us forget this case, this is because it'll awaken the sheep against the elite. A lot of people know, a lot of people don't care, but I guess the question is always like, what can you do? Because I don't want this to be like a downer, like, oh, we're done, we can't do anything, like the world sucks. I'm not trying to do that, but I'm trying to think even in my head as I'm talking, because I don't have all the answers. I'm just somebody reading stuff to a camera or just making it up. Like, I mean, I read the article, but as far as this, I'm just kind of like freestyling it. Uh yeah, I don't know. What can you really do? I guess, if everybody is brave, like for instance, BuzzFeed, do you know how hard it's got to be knowing like the FBI and the CIA? Like I said, I'm sure there's great people in those agencies, but these are agencies that you don't really want to cross. And, imagine being a BuzzFeed writer who sues the government, wins, and publishes an article about the CIA having sex with children. That's some creepy, crazy stuff. Like these people are super brave. But that's what it takes, I think, is people being brave, in their individual life and their personal life. If enough Americans were brave, I think this country would be a better place. So I think that's where I'm going to end it on that note. They used to say this is the home of the brave and the land of the free, or the land of the brave and the home of the free. I don't think people are brave anymore. These stories of people like George Washington crossing rivers, my family came here, worked it as a garbage man. Like people used to be brave, and now everybody's kind of complacent. Even with I think the COVID pandemic really exposed how comfortable people are. Because like now things are getting crazy, and like, do you want to stand up for yourself? Do you want to put your foot down? Do you want to tell a company no? Do you want to tell your boss no? What you find in America is a lot of people don't want to take that step. A lot of people are like, I know that I don't want to do this, but I'll just do it because I'm not really brave, and it's not to make fun of people because it's tough, but we're not the land of the brave or the home of the brave anymore. So I think once we become brave again and enough people really become brave, that's when things can change. People running for office, people making their own media sources, people stepping up in their own communities, people willing to, do something brave to make the world a better place. And I think it starts with you. So, there's, I'm sure, thousands of great people who work in the government, and there are always people that say enough is enough. And they're just like, you know what? I'm going to start to try to be the change that I want to see in this country. And people have to do it on an individual level, because with a case this big, I don't know, I don't know how to make it a popular thing, right? I don't know how to do that. Like how do you make it so everybody cares a really lot about it? Even me, I care about it, but what can I really do? I could talk about it a few times. Like, I feel like I'm pretty powerless in this situation, and so do a lot of people. So it starts with being brave. It starts with, making a small step. And if enough people did that, I think we would see a better change in this country. But this is a tough, complex topic. And, it just doesn't seem like this court case is going to be the thing to do it. But we will see. Thank you, Karen. I appreciate it. I want to move on to the next story real quick, and then I'll hang out and answer questions. This is CNBC. Pfizer CEO says fourth COVID vaccine doses may be needed sooner than expected due to Omicron. When we see real world data, we'll determine if the Omicron is well covered by a third dose and for how long, said the Pfizer CEO, Albert Bourla. And the second point, I think we need a fourth dose. The Pfizer CEO originally expected a fourth dose 12 months after the third, but he told CNBC it might be needed faster than that. So keep in mind, so far, according to the news, I'm not following the Omicron because I'm not a psychopath, but according to everything I've been reading, it's mild. It's been found in vaccinated people. So this is the game they play. Okay, I'm just gonna give you like an intro to the matrix of like the mind control game they're playing. If an unvaccinated person gets sick, they're like, "Oh, it's the unvaccinated. Blame the unvaccinated." If a vaccinated person gets sick, they say, "Oh, the dose doesn't work as well anymore. You need to get a new dose." So this is called like it's like a choose your own adventure, but they have the whole game rigged. You get what I'm saying? Like all of these Omicron, not all of them, but a lot of them, including the ones in South Africa, California, Minnesota, they all were double vaccinated, triple vaccinated, but people are still on TV saying, oh, the unvaccinated are spreading it. But then once people realize that, yeah, you can be triple vaccinated and still get the Omicron variant, now they just say, well, yeah, so what that means is you need more. You need more. You never win this game. It's like unless you want to do that whenever. But I say this a lot, and I don't say this because I want people to feel bad whether they got it or not. I don't say this to scare people. I say this because this is the business model of big pharma. They have the most corrupt business model on the planet. They got funded and subsidized by the government. They got their product purchased by the government. They have no liability for side effects, injuries, and deaths. So they have no reason to care how many they give you at any point, because if anything happens at any point, they're not responsible. They have no liability. So he could just say, yeah, you should get it like every month. Like, like they're just going to keep pushing it. These people are greedy. It's just their business. I'm not saying they don't have some products on the market that are good. I'm sure they do, but every company, like, have you never worked for a company before? If you work for like an Audi dealership or a Ford dealership, what's your job? Your job is to sell cars. Your job is not to go there and determine, oh, you know what? You shouldn't get the Audi. You should go get the Toyota Corolla because your paycheck can't afford it. That's not your job. Your job is not to help these people and say, oh yeah, you should probably go with the Kia Soul and save some money. That's not your job. Your job is to sell the car. Oh, you can afford it. Oh no, we'll put a down payment. You know what I'm saying? $400 a month, 300. You can afford that. You know what I'm saying? It's just an easy payment. We'll cut it in half, take out a loan. Your job is to sell the car. So if you work for a car dealership, your job is to sell the car. If you work for a pharmacy company, your job is to sell pills and vaccines. Your job is to, make as much money as profitable as possible. And in some cases, you have legal responsibility to do that because of the fiduciary duty on some stock terms. So this is just the business model. Someone said, I got a Kia Soul. Ha ha. There's nothing wrong with any car. I'm just saying, if you work at like a Mercedes Benz dealership, your job is not to be like Dave Ramsey and tell them to downgrade to, make their life better. It's like, no, your job is to sell the damn car. That's just their job. I'm not judging people for what they're driving. I'm just saying that's not the job of somebody at a more expensive car dealership. But in general, it's so obvious. Like, so until people realize that, it doesn't matter if you got the shot or not. This is never going to end. A politician gets more power during an emergency. So the emergency is not going to end. Big Pharma gets more liability shields under an emergency. So they don't want the emergency to end. Big Pharma gets more money, more power, higher stock prices. Everything goes up for them during an emergency. It's not a simple vax or anti-vax or you got it or you didn't get it. That's not what's going on here. It's their business model is to keep this going forever. And even Trevor Noah figured that out last week. So I pray that people come to their senses. And I don't know what's happening to the world where people are just yelling at each other all the time. And they're like, I hate Republicans, so I love Pfizer. And it's like, okay, like, do you really like Pfizer though? Or do you just like Pfizer because someone told you that you were supposed to? If you like, I don't even know what's going on. So none of this is shocking, but I really just pray and I work as hard as I can, but I pray that people figure out what's going on, because this is going to be a lifetime of misery, a lifetime of lockdowns, a lifetime of forced masking. There is no end date to the forced masking, because this all kind of perpetuates itself. And it's now just turning people into like little slaves. They're just like, yes, I'll do what you say. I can't, my face. You're not covering my face at a job. I'm sorry. I can't do it. Like, it's just like dehumanizing, demoralizing. And people are just like, yeah, fifth dose now. We're almost there. It's like, if you want to get it, you can get it. But there's never been a time where big pharma can just be like, yeah, another one, another one, another one. Huh, 3 months, 5 months. Oh, there's a new thing. Get over it. We got to stop. In 2022, I might even just stop talking about all this stuff completely. Not because I'm being ignorant, but I'm gonna try to. This is my goal so far. Build my own reality where I don't think about the Omicron, and I'm not like, this all starts with people caring so much. Like the flu, the branding of the flu, no one really cared about it. Yes, the flu is deadly. Yes, the flu has killed millions of people. But, there's billions of people on the planet, and icicles have probably killed, thousands of people, and nobody cares. But it's like, the branding of the flu wasn't good, but the branding of COVID is good. And I'm not saying it doesn't hurt people, but I'm just saying, like, they did a great job of branding this as the apocalypse. And that's like 90% of the problem, is people are buying into this brand. They're ignoring everything else on the planet that's killing tens of millions of people, including the government. And I'm going to end on this, and then I'm going to read some questions. The Washington Post, which is in no way right wing or whatever, they're as mainstream can get. Washington Post did an article in 2020 saying that the pandemic could possibly lead to hundreds of millions of people dying from starvation and poverty. Hundreds of millions. So let me just take an estimate. Hundreds of millions. Let's say 150 million. Okay, that's what 100, because hundreds of millions could mean 200 million, 300 million. Let's say 150 million. What's 10% of 150 million? 10% is 15 million. If Washington Post is right, and even 10% right, and they killed 15 million people through starvation and poverty with the pandemic, they killed more people than Hitler and Stalin, separately and possibly combined. So it's like, their estimate, if they end up killing hundreds of millions of people, they're going to make Mao Zedong look like Mother Teresa. You get what I'm saying? It's like, that's not me saying that. That's Washington Post saying, oh yeah, they might kill hundreds of millions of people. Well, then they just killed what? 20 times more people than Stalin by locking the world down. Like, people don't realize how bad this is. Like, I'm just going to do it because it feels right, and I'm a good person. You're not a good person. You're empowering people who are killing more people than Hitler. Like, I'm not saying this to be edgy, like, oh, everybody's Hitler. It's like, take the number that they said that he killed, and then look at the number that Washington Post is floating around that they might kill through starvation, and then look up how communists have killed people in the past through starvation, through poverty, through that's how they murder people. It's not like they go around and shoot 6 million people. Communists have starved millions of people in the past. So you have mainstream articles saying we might be killing hundreds of millions of people. It's like, I guess we're just like 50 times worse than Hitler. It's like, what? Like, what? And people are just reading this, wearing masks, being like, this is okay. It's like, no, it's not. I mean, if you're a good person, you should try to put your foot down and prevent hundreds of millions of people from being starved by people who think it's okay over a virus to shut the whole world down, screw up supply chains, like, bankrupt tourist areas that feed millions of people. This is not healthy. When it's all said and done, I predict that the lockdown orchestrators and the lockdown pushers around the world will have killed far more people than Hitler and Stalin. And it's not even going to be close at the end. Through all the collateral damage, there's already reports that they killed hundreds of thousands of people through tuberculosis by diverting medics, many of which were unnecessary. Even like, they built the Javits Center, and it's like, oh my God, we have to do all this. Some medics need to be diverted, but a lot of this was an overreaction. So they've already killed hundreds of thousands of people through tuberculosis. If you add up all the people they made fat, and more obese, childhood obesity is on the rise. You take the life expectancy down of those people, you add on the, tens of thousands of people that excess overdose of opioids and suicides. You take all the supply chains issues over the next 5 years, if inflation ends up hitting, and you know what I'm saying, they kill millions of people through that. You take the death toll of all of the stuff that they did for all this lockdown, I guarantee you they killed more people than Stalin and Hitler, and they're never going to report on that. They're never going to say they did that. They're already trying to fact check certain things. I want to read something that I saw somebody tweet the other day. Just yesterday, it was like a fact check. I think it was Cernovich. He kind of just showed screenshots, so it's like basic stuff. I'm just gonna read it real quick because they fact checked something a month ago and said it was false, and it's already come true. This is how dishonest these people are. All right, I'm about to read it in a second. So this is a month ago. This is on November 4th. The Independent. Yeah. Oh, they're really. This is Orwellian stuff. Independent. Oh yeah, you're such an independent news source. Fact check: DeSantis falsely claims vaccinated citizens without boosters could be declared unvaccinated and lose their jobs. So this was just a month ago. Fact check: DeSantis falsely claims that vaccinated people without boosters be declared. Just a month later, Daily Beast, Dr. Fauci says changing the fully vaccinated definition to include booster shots is a matter of when, not if. It's not even debatable. Like they're fact checking DeSantis. Oh, you're never going to lose your job because you're not triple vaccinated. There are people in Israel who are already losing things. Like it's not even a matter of if, or like it's already happening, and they're saying it's false. These people are like Orwellian psychopaths. That'll never happen. It already is happening, and of course, it's going to happen in America. Why wouldn't it? Your two booster shots don't last forever. They sold people on the idea that it did to get people in line. Oh yeah, it's going to cure COVID. Oh yeah, well, you can go back to normal. You can take your mask off. It's 95% effective. And then once people get it in their bodies, they're like, the third shot, the Omicron, it's 38% effective. Of course they're gonna fire people who don't get the third shot. It's not a fact. This is how Orwellian these people are. They're fact checking things that are happening in the world and telling you it's not happening. It's like the definition of gaslighting. Um, Demon Hunter Bear said it's not about how many people die, it's about how you sell the genocide. The death toll to come will be swept under the rug due to poor marketing. It's true. I agree with you. COVID had great marketing. The flu didn't have good marketing, and this multi-million person murder scheme, there's not a good marketing scheme to it, so people don't care about it. All right, I'm gonna answer some questions and hang out. Someone said China, 1.5 billion people, less than 5,000 official deaths. China's not stupid. I mean, they're not the most ethical people on the planet, but yeah, China's not dumb. They're like, oh yeah, back to normal, no masks. Like they don't mandate masks even in Wuhan. Wuhan was having pool parties last year. We're on lockdown, and Wuhan's having pool parties. Like we're such a dumb country. It's so sad, but whatever. I love America, but we're too dumb. Someone said, what must be done to wake people up? I'm personally convinced that enough people are awake. It's just enough people aren't brave. That's my thing. It's like, it's not like 50-50. It's not like that. A lot of people know what's going on. They're just not brave enough to do something about it. And it's sad because you're going to suffer. Like if you don't buy into this, you're suffering less. Like the people that are suffering the most are the people who buy into it. The people who are trying to pretend like they like wearing a cloth over their face. Like that sucks. I don't know. Yeah. It's just disappointing because it's like, just don't ruin it for all of us. I don't care what you do, but like, don't let us end up like Australia. So I don't know how to wake people up, but I would say the best things you could do, enjoy your life, find a place that you like. I don't like to tell people where to live, but you couldn't pay if you paid me $1 million, anomaly, pay you $1 million to live in New York City. No, thank you. I mean, maybe for for a couple months, you pay me 1 million, then I'll move out and go buy a house in a red state. But you get what I'm saying? It's like I don't. So you just got to save yourself. I think at the end of the day, save yourself. Try to save people you love, but at a certain point, they say you could lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. Don't stress yourself out. Don't hurt yourself trying to help others too much. At a certain point, do what you could do, let it be done, and then make sure you build a reality for yourself. Because you can build your own little world, and ignore this for the most part for now. Someone said shingles sucks. By the way, I'm sure it does. Someone said thank you for sharing that. You're welcome. Someone said, what are the brave people supposed to do? I think you gotta save yourself, and I'm not trying to be like selfish, like it sounds kind of selfish, like oh, just care about yourself. But seriously, like yeah, don't stress yourself out. Like do what you can. I try to do what I can, but I don't run around yelling at people and stuff unless they bother me. Save yourself, work on yourself, find the blessings in the bad times. Like the lockdown it was terrible. It hurt my soul, but I made the most of it. I got to see my family more, my friends more. It's like just got to make the most of it. When it happened, I was like, all right, stock up on food. Someone said more money in pharma than war nowadays. Said praying lying. I know it's starting to get to that point, and it'll start to be reflected in what's going on. But I think you gotta help yourself, who you can in your family, and I think this is like a good quote. I don't know where I heard it, but they say you can't pour water from an empty glass, right? And I feel like one of the things that most spiritual people completely ignore. Uh you need a full bottle in order to pour water. So a lot of people are empty, and I don't want to say empty, but like they're freaking out so much. Oh my God, how do I save the world? How do I save the planet? How do I save everybody else? How do I wake people up? That they forget themselves, that they forget to take care of themselves. And you can't pour water from an empty glass. It doesn't mean you're empty, but you got to help yourself, love yourself, heal yourself, build yourself. And then when you have an excess of love or an excess of money or an excess of time, then you can spend it on others. But you definitely got to take care of yourself. And at the end of the day, it's like you're never going to be able to make someone be you. You can inspire them, you could change their mind, but they're never going to be you. So you got to take care of yourself. You got to enjoy yourself. You have to make yourself safe and comfortable and happy. And then once that happens, you'll be best suited to help others. What I didn't realize when I was younger and rapping and doing stuff, I didn't realize that. So I was always trying too hard. I had a good work ethic, but I was missing the most key ingredient. I wasn't who I needed to be. And once I became who I was supposed to be, everything fell into place. So it's like once you make the internal move, it's not like just a selfish thing. Like, oh my God, you're gonna just help yourself and ignore everyone else. That's when everybody else will get helped. You know what I'm saying? You lead by example. Um, it's a beautiful thing, and you'll inspire more people that way. Someone said my son learned in first grade, got to fill your bucket first. Sounds like he's got a good teacher. It's better than what they're teaching most of the kids. Do I have new info on the Durham investigation? No, I don't know exactly what's going on there. Was I and Candace on the same page on most things? Yeah, I mean, we talked about 5 topics that we mostly agreed on. So yeah, everything we talked about we agreed on, but it was a short segment. We didn't have like 3 hours, and I didn't get to talk to Candace for like 30 minutes. It was a panel with 3 people, 25 minutes. So you got to assume I'm probably only talking for 2 minutes, 3 minutes max, if that. I don't even think I talked for that long. So it's not we didn't have like a full sit down podcast. Or a full it was a whole kind of production, so I didn't have a lot of time to chat, but it was great seeing her. But yeah, it wasn't like a full on debate or podcast or anything. Someone said thoughts on FEMA. Why would FEMA be sent to any state right now? Uh, I mean, under an emergency, they use FEMA, so certain governors are probably using the emergency and just milking it. I don't know. And then they work with FEMA. I'm not really sure. Someone said no war with Putin. Yeah, the Russia thing, in my opinion, like I love America. I'm American, but I don't like the EU. I like Europe, who Europe is supposed to be. I don't like the leadership of Europe. So I think the reason they're going after Putin is because Putin is not completely soft. Like Germany is pathetic, UK is pathetic, most of Europe is totally pathetic. And Russia's not pathetic yet. They're not that pathetic. So like the EU is like the degenerates like they're just like they're like, why don't you put a feminist drag queen in as your defense minister? Like that's what they're trying to do. Like not literally, but I'm just saying like I don't know. I don't know why the EU and America is trying to. I guess Russia wants Ukraine and the EU doesn't want it. To be honest, listen, I have nothing to do with Russia. I've never been there. I like America. I'm an American, but Russia, I mean Ukraine would probably be better under Russia than the EU. The EU is disgusting. I would if you gave me an option, if I was Ukrainian and it's like, would you rather Putin control your country or like the degenerates at like the European Union? I would be like, uh, yeah, that guy for sure. Like so. I can't speak for sure what's going on, but we got to focus on ourselves. People are like, "Oh my God, they're invading Ukraine." It's not my business. Have I read the Pfizer documents recently? The first 30 pages. I have not. Kevin said you are a liberal. Why am I a liberal, Kevin? Let me know in the comment section. Maybe like the classic definition where it says you agree you like discussions with people you disagree with. In that case I am, but if you're like what show me on the doll where what I said disappointed you. Why aren't we buying oil from Canada? I don't have an exact answer, but we don't do a lot of things that would make more sense. So if you're saying that would make more sense, probably because the people running the show either hate us or stupid or incompetent. I'm not quite sure. Sometimes I can't figure it out myself. All right, he didn't answer. Thank you, Nilsa. I appreciate you. Why aren't we buy? You keep asking that, Thomas. Yeah, I don't know. Have I ever heard of the invisible country Transnistria? No, I have not. Is that a real thing? I don't care when people say stuff. I just want to answer. Can I please look into Connecticut? Our governor still has emergency powers. I would stress myself out. Like I do. You see the work I do. I put in a lot of work. To be honest with you guys, I'm probably gonna take it easy in December and try to like chill with my family and not do that much work. I never stop. I never take breaks. I'm probably gonna take somewhat of a break and try to decompress. But it's tough because that's what I'm talking about too. I understand the governor of Connecticut's corrupt. Like it sucks, but like I can't I don't know what to do. I can't run in circles around the 20 Democrat governors and freak out. Like, yes, it's bad. If you don't want to live there, move somewhere. You know what I'm saying? I live in California. I live in a conservative county. No one bothers me. If the governor was bothering me enough, I would move. That's you gotta take responsibility. So it sucks. I know people's families and stuff are from Connecticut. My family was from Italy and they moved to America because times were tough. My other family was from Poland. They moved they moved to America because times were tough. I moved to a different county because times were tough, and eventually I'm going to move to a different state because times are tough. So if it bothers you that much, you got to go. You know what I'm saying? Like people are like, are you seeing what they're doing in New York City? Yes, I just told you that I personally think the people running the show around the world are killing more people than Hitler and Stalin. So if you're not in a camp, if you're not in a concentration camp, consider yourself lucky, do something. If you're really that scared, go somewhere because you're not in a camp right now. So I think the people in the world are killing more people than the people I learned about in World War II. So it's not shocking to me that they're doing crazy stuff. If it bothers you, you got to go. I don't know what to tell you. You know, and if you don't want to go, then you got to come to terms with it. But I would not be in New York City right now. I would not be in Los Angeles right now. If the governor was doing too much and I had a family, I would for sure move to Idaho, Florida. I don't know. Anywhere, anywhere I could. I don't so it sucks. I've done so many reports on it. They're getting worse. They're trying to do everything wrong. They're trying to treat people like slaves. They're extending their emergency powers. I just can't stress out about it all the time. I've looked into it. It bothers me every time I look at it. What do you want me to do? I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be mean, but it's like they're crazy. If you can't win an election in Connecticut, maybe it's time to look elsewhere. I don't know. Someone said Ohio. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be mean or rude. I'm just like I see what these governors are doing. They're absolutely insane. They're not trying to stop. So to me, like I'm not trying to freak people out, but to me it's this big of a deal. Like if I just don't play the victim because like that's where my family came to this country. Like they didn't want to leave Italy. They had to. They didn't want to leave Poland. They felt it was a better idea and it was. Life is not easy. So if it's getting bad where you're at, I know it's not easy. I know it's not ideal, but unfortunately that's how human history has gone. People have conquered, people have died, people have moved, people have escaped. If you're not in a camp, there's nothing to complain about. It's time to go. I don't know. Like I would not be shocked if they started throwing people in camps next year in New York City. Like, am I okay with it? Of course not. Do I like it? No. Do I think it's evil? Of course. But would it shock me? No. Like I would be more shocked if people aren't in camps within 5 years in New York City. Like if New York City just cleans itself up and becomes normal, that's shocking. If people got thrown in camps because they won't get forced vaccinated, like that's what's probably going to happen. That's why I don't understand why people are like so shocked. They're like, dude, can you believe this? Like, yeah, I'm not happy, but I'm not gonna stress myself out and I'm not gonna stress myself out and like damage my health over freaking out about these psychos in government. I'm just trying to like make the most of it, get where I need to go, and keep it moving. All right, I'm gonna be here for like 5 more minutes and then I'm gonna take off. Appreciate y'all for hanging out. Maybe we'll go 2 more minutes. I want to let you guys know too. If you don't do anything, have a good day. If you don't do anything besides that, have a good week, have a good year, have a good Christmas, have a good holiday. If you're a different, I won't even say ethnic group, but religion, have a happy holiday as well. God bless everybody. And real quick, sign up to my free email list at stayintouchwithme.com. It's stayintouchwithme.com, all one word. I will be sending out an email tomorrow. I'm going to give people a sale on my clothes, dreambearer.com. Everything's in stock. So if you ordered stuff, it should be shipping. We're shipping quickly. Everything's in stock. I'm going to do a code for 2 days because I always wait till last second to get gifts because I'm an idiot like that. If you're one of those people who waits too long to get people's gift because you're lazy and a bad family member, no, I'm just kidding, or a bad friend. I'm not a bad friend. I don't know. I just travels and I never have stuff. But I'm going to give us a code, and that code is going to give you 10% off. And we're going to ship everything before Christmas. I mean, we're shipping quickly. So if you buy it within the next 2 days, it should get there easily before Christmas. So I thought that would be nice and a good marketing tactic, to be quite honest, not just nice, but I'm like, that's one, give people an extra sale, a real sale. Two, I think it's a good marketing tactic because I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that are slacking and want to get something in time. And I go to the mall and then I get stuff and then people don't even like it. They just pretend to like it. They're like, oh, yeah, I've always wanted this. Thank you. And then I turn around, they throw it in the trash. And I'm like, I got to figure, I'm not the best gift giver. I try, but I give people like organic soap and then they don't even like it. I'm like, "Oh, you'll like this." And they're like, "Nah, just I don't care." But I would like organic soap, but other people, I give people sometimes what I think they should. I'm like, "You should get off the chemicals." And they're like, "Nah, I don't care." Someone said I give organic toothpaste or a book. It's a nice gift. It's just you can't please everybody. All right. Appreciate y'all. God bless you. Have a beautiful Christmas. I'll be back. I will be doing some videos, I'm sure. I never take a break. Multiple reasons. One, I'm passionate about what I do, and two, I guess I feel like I have one of the greatest jobs in the world. I just get to talk about what I would talk about anyway with my friends, so I don't consider it like hard labor. I mean, editing videos definitely sucks, but like this is not terrible. Like, oh my God, I'm such a victim. Like, oh, like people are like, dude, this must be so hard for you. It's like, well, yeah, I mean, it takes bravery to say things to the public, sure. But like, is this, I've worked like actual hard jobs. This is not like, oh my God, this is so tough. Like, this is the easiest thing ever. So I keep doing it because it's like a win win. I want to talk about stuff. It's like I'm talking to my friends, except I'm doing it and I'm getting paid to do it. So it's like, why would I stop working when I would do it anyway? I did it for free for 2 years. I like doing it. I would do it in private with my friends, normally and just do it. So I'm like, I never stop working because I enjoy it. It's working well. Life is good. But I do kind of want to take a break this year. I'll post some stuff. My book is pretty much done and it's not gonna make it in time. So I was like, what, I'm not gonna rush it. January's my book's probably gonna be out. So I'm gonna work on my book, hang out with my family, and I'll probably post some of my older videos and stuff and do a little bit, but I will. I feel bad, but I never take a break. So it would be nice to like just actually tune things out for a little bit. And I have a new music video coming out with Bryson Gray. If you guys know Bryson Gray, he's a rapper. We did a music video yesterday. It came out really good. He's got a new camera too, like a sick cinematic camera. It looks like a movie. So I'm really excited about that. It's a really good song. It's a really good music video. I don't know if it's going to come out later this year, next year, but pretty epic. I'm excited about it. So keep on the lookout for that. God bless you. Someone said I feel sorry for our Australians. We love our Australians here. Stay brave, stay vigilant. They're putting people in quarantine camps and quarantine facilities. Like it's gross. But stay strong, America. Stay put your foot down because we can't end up like that. But I have faith in America. I think there's enough power like breakup in America. We're not all under one guy. So I think, there's people in the Republican Party, although there's a lot of sneaks. Say what you want about DeSantis. He's pretty clear. He's not locking down. He's pushing back. He's giving nurses their job back. That's a blessing. You could say DeSantis is sneaky and you don't like him and he's done things you don't like, but it's way better than Australia to have somebody like that and governors that want to be like him because he's getting more popular. There's a nice little power breakup in America. It's not perfect. It's still not ideal, but I think we're pretty good here. So I hope it stays that way. Have a great Christmas. Have a great holiday season. What's the discount code? It's not out yet. Sign up to my free email list, stayintouchwithme.com, and I'll give it to everybody early in the morning, Friday morning. I'll do a live stream tomorrow with the code as well. The code's not there yet, so if you want to buy today and give me full money, I appreciate it. I'll put that right in the bank account, or I'll go buy some sunglasses with your money. No, I'm just kidding. But in general, tomorrow, if you want to get the savings, you could just wait. It's fine. 10%, real savings, same prices, 10% off everything. Just wait and get the free. Stayintouchwithme.com. Appreciate y'all. Have a good day. I'll be back.